overall they just had the best car. Even Oscar could have been champion today. And
it wasn't dominant. There were mistakes right, left and centre.
Very disappointed with the outcome of the race.
24 rounds down and Lando Norris is the 2025 Formula One World Champion. This is F1 Paddock Update. I'm your host Jim Kimberley, and on the ground in Abu Dhabi, straight after the race, Tim Kraaij is with me to go through everything. Well, from this race, I want to go through the season, but I don't think we'll have enough time, Tim, because so much has happened. But like I said, after 24 races, Lando Norris is the world champion. He joins an illustrious club. How do you view this new champion for Formula One? Is he joining some of the biggest names in a rightful place after the season we've had? It's been very up and down for many of the drivers, and I'm not sure if necessarily the best driver won, but certainly the best team and driver combination did. Tell me what you think, Tim.
I think you can call it more of a team effort, this championship from Lando Norris. And of course, it's the driver's championship. Of course, it's Lando the one who's won. But I think when you listen to everyone here, really see that this was a team effort. It was the McLaren car that was by far the best car of the field this season. And of course, during the season, because of the lack of development and the development of some other competitors, and especially Red Bull, they got into a little bit more trouble at the end of the season. Overall, they had the quickest car, 14 wins in the whole season between the two drivers against the 8 from Max and Red Bull. So I think overall, they just had the best car. And I think in a lot of situations, they still didn't even get the most out of it in terms of strategy, in terms of errors from the drivers, maybe not maximizing the car from the drivers. I think overall it has been a very good team effort. Andrea Stella and Zach Brown earlier in a session here in the McLaren Hospitality pointed out on that as well, that even Oscar could have been champion today. And that points out how good the team performance was of this season, that both drivers were still in it. And I think on the other hand, it shows that neither one of the two drivers had like the maximum result every single race. And I think that is something that a lot of people will remember of this season, where I think from Max's season, you can maybe point out one really big error. That was Spain, of course. And if you look at the McLarens, if you look at Lando, there are more instances where he didn't got the maximum out of the car, or where the strategy failed, or when they had the DNF in Las Vegas, for example, or his Canada moment. There have been a lot of moments where it wasn't the maximum, but I think we don't need to look at this championship as one where we talk about like one of the biggest stars in F1 at the moment, like Max was for the last 4 years and Lewis was before that. I think we talk about a very good team effort here, of which one of the two drivers of McLaren was able to reap the benefit. And Lando in the end was the best. And in the end, he has 2 points more than Max. So he has done the job. He has more points than his teammate. So overall, a deserved champion.
It does make you think about all those little points throughout the season. But actually, from one thing I thought, Tim, and put you on the spot a little bit, we think about Lewis Hamilton being one of the greats of 7 championships, but I do look back at that first title, and it was him versus Massa, both of them going for that first championship win. And it wasn't a clean season. It wasn't dominant. There were mistakes right, left and centre from both drivers, both teams. Is that something maybe that we're at the moment, straight after this championship, maybe overlooking that this was 2 drivers out of the 3 that were going for that first championship? And when you do look at the likes of Max Verstappen, Sebastian Vettel, Lewis Hamilton, with hindsight now, the first championships always seems to be a little bit more hectic than the subsequent ones, and that might be the case for Lando too.
And I think maybe we've grown a little bit too much accustomed to what Max does. And look, the fact that we're talking about the one single mistake he made over a whole season, Max, it's just incredible. And that's something that we've seen over multiple years now from him. I think maybe it is not fair to, hold everyone else to that standard as well, because like you said, like Lewis's championships have never been like as dominant in terms of the driver performance as Max was over the last few years, same for Sebastian Vettel, especially like Vettel's titles. There were a lot of races where he didn't get the maximum out of the car, or the team failed, or there were enough issues there as well. Same for Hamilton, Rosberg, you can name them all. I think Max has been the one in the last 4 seasons who has raised the bar, to a far new level And I think maybe it is indeed, like you say, not really fair to compare us the first championship of Lando Norris to that. But yeah, because of the 4 seasons we've just had, of course you're going to do that in some sort of way.
Let's focus on the now not reigning champion in Formula One a little bit, because this race, there was so much conjecture on the internet beforehand about what Max Verstappen and Red Bull could do. And a lot of people did expect Max Verstappen and Red Bull to go into this race, maybe use Yuki Tsunoda as a hurdle to slow down Lando Norris and maybe Oscar Piastri. Did seem that they tried to do that, didn't work. But Max himself wasn't going around with that Lewis Hamilton, Nico Rosberg 2016 plan of trying to slow everybody down and allow Charles Leclerc, allow George Russell, allow anybody to come and overtake Lando, which if Lando did slip one position up, that could be Max's championship. He could be a 5-time champion now. Why didn't that happen today?
Yeah, maybe partly a shift of how they wanted to approach this race, that they want to just do everything themselves, get the maximum out of their car, out of their package. But also mainly forced because of McLaren, because McLaren made the choice to put Oscar on the hard tires. Oscar overtook Lando, which was a little bit planned. Of course, everyone jumped up to cheer for Oscar at that moment. But when we spoke here to Andrea Stelli, he said it was a little bit planned that Oscar would overtake Lando so that he, on hard tires, could put pressure on Max to make sure he had to pit earlier to make sure he's draining his tires a little bit more. But they were surprised in how long Max could survive on the medium, stay out on the medium. And in the end, Max just had the better car and the better package today, so they couldn't work on that. But because of the hard tire for Oscar, because of the fact he could stay out so long, there was no possibility really for Max to slow down the pace, because from the moment he got into the pits, he couldn't slow down anymore because he had to reduce the gap to Oscar. Eventually even overtook him. I think in the end, had the feeling there was a little bit more into it. When he overtook Oscar, you could have thought about a pit stop, or maybe just right after the lap after Oscar did a pit stop, that he could do the pit stop as well, be right in front of Oscar and Lando, hold up the whole pack. But that, never occurred or was never an option for Red Bull. They just want to win this race and hope something else would happen to McLaren, like for the last races happened. And less so in a way like Hamilton did in 2016. Not that was a success back then, but not really in that fashion. And it feels like a new, fresh breath of air here at Red Bull Racing, where they try to do things a little bit more differently than under the regime of Christian Horner, of course, where it was maybe a little bit more fierce, a little bit more attacking. They try to do things a little bit more in their own way, a little bit more joy, a little bit more focusing on their own performance and less so on everyone else.
Brand new era for Red Bull Racing, it seems. I'd certainly expected some level of fun and games coming from the Milton Keynes squad, but wasn't to be. And it might be a new era going into the future with Red Bull. Obviously, Christian Horner has left the team, but it was a surprisingly emotional Giampiero Lambiase, of course, GP, as a lot of people know him, with Max Verstappen in this final race of the season. Is it going to be GP's final race with Red Bull Racing or in F1?
Yeah, you could maybe have that feeling when you watch him on the pit wall, when you listen to the board radio, Max calling, saying like, we showed them for the final time who's boss. A lot of emotions there, and especially for Giampiero. And I asked Lauren McKees here after the race as well about that, and emotions running high. And he said, everyone is on the limit. It's been a long season. And the fact that you're in such a tense title fight, push everyone to the limit. But I did some questions here afterwards as well. And of course, Giampiero Lambiase had some other issues during the season as well, some private issues where he missed out on 2 races as well. Max was asked about it in the press as well. He also said, Giampiero is my friend and he has gone through a lot this season. And I think that overall has been the thing that made it for him a little bit more emotional after the race. But no, he's not going to leave. He's still there for Red Bull Racing. Not so definitive as at least the other person who at least is thinking about next season.
Well, you've teed that up very nicely, Tim, of course, because you are on the ground and you do get these little snippets of information. So let's go into this. You've had a chance, I understand, to speak with Dr. Helmut Marko, who's been instrumental in bringing so many drivers to the top at Red Bull Racing, Sebastian Vettel, Max Verstappen most notably. But so many more we could name. I mean, even Daniel Ricciardo, Carlos Sainz, half the people on the grid, really. But some talk that he is considering his options for the future. What's this about?
Yeah, so it was right after the race that I spoke to Helmut Marko, where he is a little bit not in doubt about his future, but he wants to have a think about it. He's very disappointed with the outcome of the race. He hoped his target was to get a 5th world title with Max Verstappen, and they failed to do so. 2026 will, of course, be a very difficult challenge for Red Bull Racing with their own new engine, with a complete new cars, and you never know how competitive you will be in that season. So I think it was overall just very emotional for him as well. And he needs to think about what he wants to do for next season. He still has a contract for 2026, so that is not a problem. I think he just needs to have a little think if he still wants to be in this role for next season. Because, he's always here for the 24 races. He's not the youngest anymore. So, he can probably think a little bit about his future. He said, I need to sleep about it. So there are some things. There are some changes within Red Bull over the last year. He had made some difficult decisions with Red Bull management in terms of the sacking of Christian Horner, of course. He played a part in that. And afterwards, we've seen some movement in how the structure is organized at Red Bull Racing. In 2 or 3 years ago, Helmut Marko had like the full right to pick and choose the drivers for both Red Bull Racing and Racing Bulls. That has changed now a lot. Still has a say, but the power of him is reducing over the years, and that those, among other things, will play a part in his decision on staying at the team or not for next season. So very interesting. He will sleep about it, he said at the end. Lauren McKees asked him about that as well. He said at least he was very thankful for Helmut and everything that he has done for the team so far. He spoke in the past tense, but I asked at Red Bull, but that was more of a language barrier for the Frenchman. So he just wanted to say how grateful he was for everything that Helmut Marko has done. I don't think it's a matter of Red Bull wanting to get rid of him, but maybe more a decision that Helmut has to make if he still wants to do another year with the team. But we have to wait to see what his decision will be on that.
24 races, I'm not surprised that some people might be considering what that takes out of a person. And hopefully in the edit, it's not going to be so loud, but I can hear the planes taking off behind you, Tim. But are you going off for a plane to escape Abu Dhabi, or have you got a party in mind to celebrate the end of the season?
There's less energy left for a party. So no, we still have some work to do here on the paddock. Then we go back to the apartment, and tomorrow morning I fly back home to the Netherlands.
Well, Tim, it's been fantastic everything you brought to us from the paddock throughout the season. Thank you so much for what you brought. And bigger and better things coming in next year. 2026, of course, new regulations. It's all very exciting. So please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because we're going to be bringing you lots of new information as the new regulations come out. But time to take a break for the moment. Tim, again, thank you for everything. I think you deserve the break most out of everybody here. And thank you everybody else for watching.